Hello, this is Guzalia Davis with the Smoke Out series, and today I have a very special guest all the way from Maine. She's a hypnotherapist. She's also an entertainer. She does comedy hypnosis shows, and she's also intuitive. Please welcome Gail Webster.
Hypnosis works for smoking. And I'm going to tell you, I know this personally myself because I quit using hypnosis. And I smoked for too long a period of time. But when I finally made the choice, of, my own choice, and decided that I was done, I used hypnosis, and it works. It gets in there and it changes the wiring that keeps you there. And see, what makes me really good to come to is I know all your excuses because I had them all myself. You can't tell me any good excuses of why you want to continue. But I will say this, I don't accept everybody that calls me. They have to say the right thing. I have to hear the right thing, and I have to know that they're ready. Because if someone says to me, I want to try this, I've tried everything else, and I just tell them, I don't try anything. I do it.
The word try is a red flag to me too.
Yeah,
I would not
because
accept that.
And I think it's conditioned in all of us to say that word, okay, too. And a lot of people say it out of habit sometimes, but you do have to pay attention to that word because you got to re-script it right there. You're saying, nope, I'm not trying anything. I'm going to actually do it. And that's when you know they're ready. And you got to listen to why they want to quit. Mm-hmm. If it's for, their husband, their wife, their kids, family members, doctor work, all of that is great, but it's not going to stop you from smoking. You yourself have to say, I got to quit.
Absolutely.
Once you say, I got to quit, it's done.
Has to be personal choice, personal decision.
Absolutely.
So Gail, if I would ask you, who's your favorite client, like the type of client for smoking?
Well, it's usually the ones that say to me, I don't know if I can be hypnotized. I'm not sure if I can. And I like talking to them about how they got hypnotized by the cigarettes and how easy it was for them to get hypnotized by the cigarette. Mm-hmm. And once that light clicks on, it clicks on. Then they're open and they listen because it's true. We're all individuals. We all have a fingerprint, right, that makes us different. Well, our minds are different too. And the way we take in suggestions and the way that we connect with people is a little different also. So it's about getting into the same sync, with them. But usually it's the ones that say to me, I don't know if I can be hypnotized. Because I'm going to tell you, when I was hypnotized for the smoking, I was in one of those group ones, right? It wasn't individual, it was group. And because I'm right and left-brained, I take in information both ways. I remember thinking in my mind, I'm not hypnotized.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
I don't know if I'm hypnotized, I don't think I am. Well, when he gave the suggestion that our hands were stuck to our lap and to try to move them, to try to raise them. No matter what I did, I couldn't raise my hands or get them off my lap. I started giggling then because I knew, oh my God, I am hypnotized. Actually, that's one of the things that I will do when I start getting into trance. I've noticed about myself. And some people think that when people start to laugh that they're not taking it seriously or they're not going in. Well, that's not always true. Because
some people, it is a tension release.
It's a release.
I had people giggling.
I'll start to laugh and I'll say, uh-oh, there I go. And I'm laughing when I'm doing it. So it's not always the case. You know, some people laugh when they're nervous. Some people laugh when they're going. And so it's not always a red flag of they're not going. But for me, that's how I go. So I don't use that as, you know, some people are too specific. Like I said, we're all individuals and we all go in differently. So when I bring someone in and I talk to them about the smoking, once I get, you know, once we decide that they're a good fit and we set up the appointment, then I'll send the emails with all the information of everything that I want them to fill out consciously. Okay. And then we have the conversation and I go over, you know, why they feel they started smoking, how old they were, what they were, you know, doing, what was going on in their life. What I do is I go for the triggers. I go for the triggers because I want them to be successful. And so I'm going to take away the triggers once I have them in trance. Okay. And the one big tip for me, and you know, and I did it for myself, is that I started thinking about what I was going to do positive for myself, because now I was getting a negative and I was getting rid of it. Your mind is going to look for a replacement for that.
Just so people can understand better, you mentioned triggers. Can you give us an example, specific example?
Okay.
And how you work with it?
I'm going to give you an example of what my trigger was for me. Okay. So I knew that if I was going to be successful at giving up the cigarettes when I was quitting, that I would have to give up things that I associated the smoking habit with, right? So, 1, a glass of wine. Caffeine. I gave up coffee, Diet Pepsi, and wine. All 3 of those things for a year. Because I knew that if I had the caffeine, I would associate it with the smoking. And I knew that the Diet Pepsi really wasn't that great for me. And that in itself was an addiction. So I wanted to get rid of that too. And the wine, not that one would do it, but you could still, you know, get yourself into, if you had a little more, you might decide to pick that up. So I programmed myself that once I went and got myself to that point, okay, this is my quit day, I gave up those triggers for me. Okay. And that's how I did that. So what I do when I'm talking to a client that's wants to stop smoking, I ask them what their triggers are. What do they typically smoke? You know, what are they doing when they're doing it? And that I weave into the suggestions once I have them in the state of trance, so that we kind of take those out. And I ask them about positive things that they would like to replace that with. Okay. And so when I do that, it gets all weaved in to the induction, the deepening, the suggestions, and then I put anchors in. Okay. And I teach them how to anchor in the suggestions, that should they have an urge or feel like they have an urge, there's a way for them to pull the trigger and let it go. Okay. So it could be any kind of trigger, you know. But
alcohol and caffeine,
yeah,
such a common thing. Well, tell me from your own experience, was it easier to give up, you know, all that simultaneously than, for example, if you would have to give up coffee?
Well, what ended up happening is it sealed it in for me, because I didn't have the triggers. Okay. I started feeling better from not drinking the Diet Pepsi right off the bat. I wasn't as, I got a little bit of headaches because of the caffeine withdrawal, a little bit of that. But that came with the cigarette withdrawal too, because your
Mhm.
body does have a little bit of withdrawal. Okay, it's going to, because you have made yourself addicted to these things. And so I also tell you about what you're going to do to take those away and to alleviate that. Okay, and what you can do to get it out of your system quickly. So it's like not even having anything. It was easy for me. And so now I drink wine. I don't even think about a cigarette. I drink coffee. I don't even think about a cigarette. I never touched another diet soda though, and I gave up soda completely because that was one of those things I wanted to get rid of anyway. Okay. So I got rid of two bad things, and the two things that I do like to do, I do like an occasional glass of wine, and I do like my morning coffee. I still enjoy. But I had to break the habit that was attached to the trigger.
That association between
Yes.
having a glass of wine and a cigarette, or a
Yeah.
morning cup of coffee and a cigarette.
You know, like you had it together. So it was kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. But it's actually what, when I quit smoking, there was only 4,000 chemicals in a cigarette. Now there's 7,000 chemicals. I mean, really? Seriously? Logically, we all know it's bad for us. When we started, we knew, maybe this isn't so good. We coughed, we did all that stuff, but yet we forced ourselves to do it because back then it was cool and everybody was doing it.
The funny thing is, when I ask clients from, I don't know how many people I worked with, only one said that he enjoyed first cigarette. Nobody else ever said that first cigarette was pleasant, or even second or third. It was nasty. Everybody remembers negative experience.
You're coughing, you're hacking, you're like, you force yourself. It's crazy how it starts and how we force ourselves, into it. When you think of it logically, you think, that's crazy. Why did I do that to myself? But, we do. And the person that said to you they enjoyed it was probably getting some kind of a secondary gain or a charge out of doing it, because it was so taboo for them to do it that it made them feel like they were getting away with something. So they enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my thought process with it.
Yeah, but usually people say, I don't know how I'm going to live without cigarettes now, because it's my everything.
Well, one of the things that kept me from wanting to quit was I was going to gain all kinds of weight, and I was having some thyroid issues, and so I was gaining weight anyway. And what happened was, when I quit, my body started healing, my stress levels went down, and guess what? I lost weight. I didn't gain. So it had a positive effect. And so it's what we tell ourselves, right? And the next time someone tells you that, I'm going to give you, this is my tip for this, and I use this a lot, okay? And if you have a straw, you can even do it even better. But you tell the person, I want you to take the straw, okay, and just kind of go and breathe all the way in, do this. Just like you're inhaling, right? Air, fresh air. And you do this, because this is what a person does when they go to smoke. And then you go, well, your body naturally relaxes because you're taking in air. It's not the smoke that's relaxing you. That's causing your body stress. It's the act of taking in air and breathing. That's relaxing.
That's how we start hypnosis. Please take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Doesn't it feel good?
Yes. So it's It goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. And I have all kinds of little tips that I use. And it's not just mine. I'm sure there's many hypnotists that use very similar. Before the person comes into my office or before I do a Skype or a phone session, I send them everything that they need to prepare for their date. And I make them sign a contract with me and themselves that this is the date, because that's your word to yourself, right? And then I'm the witness to your word to yourself. And then I encourage them to tell everybody that, you know, they picked a quit date and, you know, by golly, they're going to do it and stick to it so that people start to cheer them on. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
So you are adding outside motivation. It's not just their own decision. Now they have to, since everybody knows.
Yeah, they have to, boy, I better
they
do
have
it.
to stick with it.
I've put it out there, so now I got to stick to it, which helps you. And then on the other hand, okay, you get the people cheering you on. On the other side, you got to stay away from the ones who cannot do it. Staying away from people who say that they can't, okay, and that may try to offer you a cigarette. You got to stay away from that in order to be successful. You got to stay out of areas where there's a lot of smoking going on. And I help people prepare for their quit smoking day once I get to know who they are a little bit and how their mind works. So I kind of rewrite a few things for them so that they know, okay, until you're fully past that feeling like you may relapse, stay away from these areas. Don't do this. You know, you have to. And another thing I tell them is do not smoke in your car. Take your car to be cleaned. Do this for yourself, because the money that you're going to be saving on cigarettes, you could buy yourself a brand new car monthly. That's a car payment when you think about it. It is.
Yeah. Okay. On average, with my clients, it's $300 to $350 monthly.
Of course.
I ask them to write it down.
What state you're in? So,
Maryland, yeah.
It's almost $10 a pack. Imagine. Okay. So once they do that, and I tell them, go get your car professionally cleaned, steam cleaned, make it smell good like a new car smell. So every time you get in your vehicle, you smell that new car smell and you think, and it doesn't smell like cigarettes, and don't smoke in it at all for the week prior or to however long it is till I get to see you and we do your session, because this is already starting. And for ladies, I tell them, you know, start doing your house cleaning, you know, clean your pillows, your blankets, your curtains, all of that. We want to start putting good smells in, because what's going to happen is your smeller is going to start getting more and more intense as you know, as your body starts clearing out all of this toxin stuff that you've been doing. And things are going to taste better. They're going to smell better. You're going to feel better. And, you know, then you're going to start to think, I don't even know why I was ever doing this in the first place. And I'll tell you, once you become a non-smoker and you're permanent non-smoker, you can smell a person that smokes a mile away.
Absolutely.
It's like, wow. And you think to yourself, did I smell like that? You did.
Yeah, smokers, they become numb.
Yeah, well, it's because they can't smell it on themselves. They're, you know, the olfactory, they lose their sense of taste and smell because of all the chemicals. It isn't just me telling you. These are things that are known facts, right? That people can find out. You know, gum disease you get, you know, throat cancer, not only your lungs, you have bronchitis, emphysema, you know, other organs, your liver, your colon, your brain, your eyes, your ears, your skin, your muscles, your joints, your heart. It affects every muscle, nerve, and fiber, every tissue in your body. Okay? And whatever you do, don't go looking for a replacement for it in vapes or e-cigarettes, because those are addicting and they're coming out to be a little worse right off the rip.
Those are not healthier option at all.
They're not. They're causing, there's a new thing that's called popcorn lung. It's called popcorn lung. Look that up. And it does it, your lungs, once you get that, they don't repair themselves. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And, you know, all of the other chemical stuff, you know, here's the other stuff with this. You know, there's nicotine in those vape cigarettes. Is it, you know, don't smoke it. Even those people who are doing the new CBD oil vapes and stuff, don't do that. Ingest it. Make your, you know, take your drops. Do it that way. Don't invade your lungs. Because not only that, but have you seen where people's had the batteries have blown up in their face? And some people have had disfigured faces from vaping and e-cigarettes. That's not a choice. You can pick a positive one, you know, to do. And so I work on reinforcing what you're going to replace that bad habit with. So, but here's the good thing. Here's the power of the mind and you being in control, and not cigarettes and tar and the cigarette company and the pharmaceutical companies, is you decide yourself what you're going to replace it with. You're in charge of that. And nobody can tell you any different. So you pick your positive. Whatever it is that you like to do, what makes you feel good, what, you know.
So would that be a part of your prep work? You tell them ahead of time, so they have the list already for you.
That's right, because I'm going to weave that into my session.
I do the same, yeah.
It's going to be a story. It's going to be a whole story. And I do a bunch of different visuals, disgusting visuals, and then I do positive visuals. And then I tell them, well, you're on this path now. And you're in a fork in the road. And I do future progression, past, and I show them, if you make this choice, this is what you got to look forward to with the positive one. If you make the negative choice and you continue down that path, what is your life going to look like in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years down the road? Will you even be alive?
Yeah. So I know many hypnotists really don't like doing this, but do you use aversion?
Aversion?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Give us an example. With some people, I find it, with some people you have to. Not with everybody, but with some you really have to.
I use a combination of different things together. Like, I'll build it up and show them, you're see all the cigarettes that you've smoked in your life. First it started out as this, and they're building it up, and now it's a mountain of cigarettes. So what does that look like? Okay. And then I tell them, now you've got a new chapter in your life. We're going to the next page, because you had your fair share of cigarettes. You were not deprived, as you see, but now you've changed the page. It's a new chapter. Now you're choosing to get rid of that big mountain of disgusting, smelly old cigarettes, and you're choosing this fresh, new way of life and breathing and your health and how much better you're going to feel. And so I do the aversion, but I bring in the positive with it too. So they see, oh, I'm leaving that and I'm going to this. A little bit of it, but I don't do it in a mean, aggressive way. But I do tell them that they can shut the door when they decided they want to run out of that room, away from that pile, because I enclose them in it. I get them smelling.
Sometimes I sneak in if I feel that it's necessary with a specific person. I think in a suggestion like if even just an idea of smoking will come to your mind, your body will instantly react.
Yeah, no,
Sweat, cramping, or tension.
yeah, yeah. You got to give them a little bit of. I give them an anchor, and I tell them even if it creeps in, you know, it's and I lock it down in. I lock it. I tell them it's locked in your mind. Any negative thoughts, any you know that creep in there, they're blocked, and I just seal it in there, so that if they start to feel it, they go, oh no, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. So where people can find you, Gail?
Well, I have a office in the town of Brunswick, Maine. It's 183 Park Row, and I call it my tower because I'm up on the 3rd floor, and it's 3B, Suite 3B. That is my local office. It's right next to Bowdoin College, which is it's a pretty town that I live in. And also, you could email me, or go through my website, and you'll see where we have this, where you can contact me, and I can set up a Skype or a phone. A Skype, I think, is better because I like to be able to see, because
Absolutely.
I see your body and I know where you're at, and it's safe. No different is as long as you're listening and following what I say, there's no problem. And my protocol is 1 2-hour session, and I give you a reinforcement MP3 that you're to listen to every day afterwards, okay? Until you feel you no longer need it. Now, I suggest that you do it for 30 days, okay? Simply because that's going to lock it in. And you can either choose in the morning or in the evening. And you know what? Even if you listen to it at night and you fall asleep, it doesn't matter listening to it, because your subconscious mind never sleeps, and it will hear it. And it's just hearing my voice reinforcing what you went to see me for, okay? So you get that. And then 21 days later, I will do a reinforcement session. It doesn't have to be long. It can be a quick, 20-minute session, just to reinforce the work that we've already done. And, it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? Mm-hmm. So this is your new habit. And so I'm just reinforcing it and process. Now, I will say some people who are highly, highly suggestible, one session will knock it out. If, mm-hmm. It will happen. It has happened. Not everybody, because like I said, we're all different. We all take in information differently. So if you follow what I give you and you do the protocol, you'll be successful. You just have to do it.
Yes. So Gail, in honor of the great American Smokeout Day, would you have any special offer for us?
I do have a special offer, actually, and I've got an ad that I put on Facebook, and I also have a little website which they'll be able to click on. I'm known as the Wicked Fun Hypnotist, okay? Simply because I'm from the Northeast, and wicked is the word in the Northeast, Boston and Maine and New Hampshire. And so I've called it the Wicked Quit Smoking, or the Wicked Stop Smoking .com, and you'll see that website link. And between now, and there's a timer on it, between now and right up to the day of the smoke out date.
Yes, it's November 21st.
And it's for $220. My session usually is $495. Okay. If you jump on board and do this, book your session and pay for it, then you'll get this price, $220. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It is. It's a very generous offer.
It is. For those people that say, I don't have $220, well, guess what? I broke it down into 3 payments.
It's like buying a couple of bags of cigarettes.
So you can buy it at one for, pay it all at once, $220, or you can break it down to 3 payments. So just set your appointment. Set your appointment. Make the decision that you're important this year. That this new year, going into this new decade, this is a new decade. Go into it without those old cigarettes that have been destroying your life. Just think about, how upset your family members and friends would be if something were to happen to you. I mean, really. They'd be proud of you. You'd be proud of yourself. And like I said, you have to do it for yourself more than anybody else, because it won't work any other way. But your friends and family will be your cheerleader and will support you. They will. They'll be proud of you. And you'll be proud of yourself. And you'll be able to spend that money on something fun and exciting. Maybe a new car. Maybe a vacation. Who knows? Maybe a new sofa. Whatever you want. New wardrobe. New shoes. I know that's what I think about, right? As a lady. But
well, thank you so much for your time and this very generous offer. And thank you for not smoking with us today.
That's right. Thank you.